The road ahead is uncertain, but the end is clear. Aegon will be king. He's the firstborn son of the king.
You will be with your own child sooner than late.
I do not wish to get married.
Even I do not exist above tradition and duty, Rhaenyra!
None of it needs be this way in truth. No one's here for me.
Princess!
The Crabfeeder has dug in for siege on Bloodstone while his men sabotage our fleet. The matter of the Stepstones is, regrettably, urgent.
Crabs will soon dine on all of us. We are losing.
Dragon!
Welcome back, everyone. This will be my House of the Dragon Episode 3 trailer video. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs here, so we'll break it all down. Obviously, a bit of a time jump because there's a bunch of changes in the characters and a couple new characters that you probably haven't seen before. If you're brand new to the channel, I'm doing videos for all the episodes just like I did for the main series Game of Thrones. Be sure to subscribe to get them all. We're also doing a giveaway for HBO Max subscriptions. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just post all your predictions for the episode on the video. Probably the two biggest things in this trailer are the appearance of Aegon II, Alicent's son, with Viserys, the new heir, quote-unquote, that the realm is talking about, that Rhaenyra is really worried about. Wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the heir. What's going on with this new son you just had? Surprise, surprise, Rhaenys Targaryen, princess who never was totally right last episode when she was trying to get real with her. Like, the realm is never going to take you seriously. Eventually your father is going to marry some woman, and his son by her will become the new king. So before our eyes, Rhaenyra's world is kind of slowly crashing down around her, and her father, Viserys, is forcing a marriage upon her. I'll talk about that in a second too, because like the other big WTF thing is the actual War of the Stepstones with Daemon and Corlys Velaryon. One of the really important things about the War for the Stepstones, though, as you notice, all their forces are made up of Corlys's men, along with sellswords and landless adventurers that Daemon winds up hiring with money given to him by the crown. That's why most of the people running around with the sigils on them are just the sigil of House Velaryon. The reason for this is because, as they said in the previous episode, the small council, King Viserys, didn't want to get involved officially through the crown because they didn't want to start an all-out war with all of Essos. So he was happy to support Daemon's efforts in the war with Corlys Velaryon, but he didn't want to involve the crown itself. What they've done, though, is they've kind of compressed the timeline because when the War of the Stepstones was being fought, it was a bunch of different battles across a bunch of different years, and it was happening during a different time period than all the stuff with Rhaenyra, Aegon, Viserys, and Alicent was going on. So I think what they've done for the episode is there's been another small time jump, like not a massive time jump, but enough time for Viserys to get remarried to Alicent, and then for them to have Aegon and him to grow to this age, and her to become pregnant with her second child. The only bonus here for Rhaenyra is that her second child is a female named Helena. She does wind up having 2 more sons with Viserys, though, later in the timeline. You see some of the adult versions of these characters in some of the first trailers they released, like way back last year. Like, this is Aemon Targaryen. He winds up being called Aemon One-Eye Targaryen. I'll give you one guess why he's called Aemon One-Eye. I like the idea is that Rhaenyra's best friend gets remarried to her father, so there's a big betrayal to her like we saw at the end of episode 2, and she has a bunch of healthy male children with him. So it looks like at the beginning of the trailer, she's still upset with her father after that short time jump, like they haven't completely made up yet, but he's trying to reason with her about the reality of the situation, like, I am a king, the realm expects me to remarry and have more heirs with this next wife. Anybody else who would have been king would have been expected to do the same thing. There were a lot of jokes about him remarrying someone so young, like they made the jest about him remarrying Rhaenyra Velaryon, who was only 12 years old at the time, like, there's no way we're gonna let this happen. But his way of justifying it is saying, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna marry this 12-year-old, I'm gonna marry your best friend who's about 14 or 15 years old. That's better somehow. One of the other minor changes it seems like they've done on the show is they made Alicent way younger. So in the books, Alicent is in her mid-20s when she remarries to Viserys I, and Viserys I is only in his mid-30s. But obviously in real life, Paddy Considine is in his late 40s, so Viserys looks way older than his mid-30s. Maybe we can just chalk that up to him having some weird ailment. A lot of you have also wondered if he might have a version of diabetes because his extremities are starting to rot like that. And speaking of ill health, they've actually clarified what's going on with Cragas Drahar, Crabfeeder. They showed some behind the scenes for his character. He does have grayscale, so like he's slowly dying. If his mask looks familiar, that is meant to be taken from the Sons of the Harpy, like he's wearing a Sons of the Harpy mask that he's kind of reshaping into his own costume. And his main weapon here, which he's using to nail people up to feed the crabs, literally, is a battle hammer. We get the voiceover from Otto Hightower talking to his daughter Alicent, basically trying to reason with her, just saying that your son Aegon will be king, even though she's still trying to mend things with Rhaenyra, like she still wants to be friends with her. During the trailer, you see her chase her down outside, like things don't have to be like this, as Rhaenyra kind of runs off into the distance. One of the things they don't totally address in the trailer, but a lot of you have suspected, is that now because there are male heirs, Rhaenyra's life is potentially in danger, because depending on how devious you think the hand of the king Otto is, I don't know if he would stoop to this, but theoretically, if Rhaenyra were not to do anything and just to sit around and wait for Viserys to die, potentially someone like Otto or someone around Viserys could just kill her to clear up the matters of succession. Like, okay, we don't have to worry about her anymore, we have a male heir, let's put him on the Iron Throne. So not only is Rhaenyra feeling betrayed by her father and her best friend, she's also just like a little bit worried about her life. Also, her father is forcing her into this eventual marriage, but that's also expected too, like you would be expected to marry someone even if you were the heir. What might be happening in this scene here is they might actually be at Harrenhal, because in the background you see Harwin Strong and his father Lionel Strong, and he's the current Lord of Harrenhal. So connecting some of the dots, like things do get really spicy with Rhaenyra, the other characters just in general. It wouldn't be a Game of Thrones prequel show if it wasn't a little bit spicy. They're forcing her into a marriage. That marriage is this person here that you see, Laena Velaryon. That's because her father wants to try and mend fences with Corlys Velaryon, because he kind of threw him under the bus when he decided not to marry his daughter, Laena Velaryon. This is Laena Velaryon with his father, Corlys, and Daemon Targaryen during the War of the Stepstones, so he was busy fighting with them during the war. Getting to the spiciness of it all, and Lionel Strong here, there's a lot of like funny rumors that go on in A Song of Ice and Fire books. Rhaenyra doesn't want to get married. She's forced to marry Laena Velaryon because of this alliance that they want to form with the family. But Laena is supposed to be kind of like a Loras Tyrell type of figure, so she doesn't want to get married to him, and he doesn't really want to get married to a woman, so to speak. But both of them are just kind of forced into it. Also, when you see her run off here, you see Criston Cole kind of clock her as she's running off into the woods, and she gets attacked by what looks like a wild animal. It's Criston Cole that winds up saving her. You see them around the campfire after this. She kind of has the hots for Criston Cole, but he's a Kingsguard. He's kind of like a Brienne of Tarth type of figure at this point in the story. Like, he wants to be a good knight. So things do get a little bit spicy between the two of them, but they don't quite go to the place where you think that they go. But these two sons of hers are supposed to be with Laena Velaryon. They're like the two first sons that she gives birth to. So now everyone's having flashbacks to people talking about the color of hair of the Lannister children. Wait a minute, why aren't they brunettes like Gendry if they were Robert's children? That's because they weren't Robert's children, they were Jaime's children. So both Rhaenyra and Laena have the white hair. Who is their father then for real? There was a rumor recorded in the books that said it was Harwin Strong who was secretly their father. And it becomes this big salacious rumor that gets passed around court. In this part of the trailer, Harwin Strong is also the captain of the City Watch, the Gold Cloaks, that Daemon created. So when her father is telling her, oh, you'll be with your own child sooner than late, that's the marriage that he's talking about to Laena and the children that she eventually has with him, that we think that she has with him. But like I said, big salacious rumors about her secretly having an affair and the children being fathered by Harwin Strong. Later in the trailer, when they talk about the War of the Triarchy and the Crabfeeder digging in on Bloodstone, that's sort of like the seat of power inside the Stepstones they're trying to take. The dragon you see flying in the background is Daemon's dragon, Caraxes. Obviously, love the part of the trailer at the end where they yell, "Dragon!" and he starts attacking the battlefield. Anytime there's a dragon in a battle, it's epic. The closest comparison I would make would be to like the Field of Fire. They called it the Loot Train battle during the main Game of Thrones series, but during Aegon's Conquest, there was a similar type of engagement where he brought Balerion the Black Dread and basically burned the entire field of opposing soldiers, and they called it the Field of Fire. That's basically what you see Caraxes do to this field of battle here, like he just lights the entire place on fire. Now, it's also important to note, during the main series, they introduced the Scorpion, but that was an ancient device that they basically pulled out of mothballs. Qyburn was like, I think I found something that can fight the dragons. We haven't used it in a long time, but it's very effective. So just because the Targaryens had dragons for so long, the Scorpions, other ways of fighting dragons had been a thing for a long time, even back during Aegon's Conquest. So just having a dragon outright didn't mean you were invincible in battle. A lot of it just depended on who you were fighting and how well equipped they were. That's one of the reasons why Dorne wasn't conquered during Aegon's Conquest, because they had methods and techniques for fighting dragons, and that was like Aegon's big trump card. But the whole idea is that during the War of the Stepstones, during all the different battles, the Triarchy's army, Crabfeeder's army, vastly outnumbered Daemon and Corlys' army, but because they had Caraxes, they had the dragon, it kind of balanced things out. He's gonna barbecue so many people in next week's episode. I will be interested to see, though, if they do the entire War of the Stepstones in just a single episode. In the other trailers, you also see a little bit of the aftermath of the battle. In the earlier trailers, you see Daemon walking into the throne room, Viserys sitting on the Iron Throne. He's wearing that crown, the same suit of armor. When they eventually defeated the Triarchy's army, Corlys crowned him king of the Stepstones. Remember, when he was trying to sell him on the Alliance at the end of episode 2, he was trying to sell him on the idea of making a name for himself. That's why Daemon crowns himself king of the Stepstones. And just to be clear, the Stepstones themselves weren't officially part of the Seven Kingdoms. That's why he could do something like that. Daemon is the rogue prince, but he's not going to crown himself the king of a part of Westeros. That would invite open war with the crown. It'd be like going to a completely different country and saying, you know what, I'm going to be king of this country over here after we conquer it. Obviously, the rest of the realm doesn't take that too kindly. Like his brother, the Kingsguard here, don't take it too kindly. But one of the other things they're doing with these first couple of episodes, episode 2 also, when you see Rhaenyra fly under cloud cover and come up to Dragonstone, really cool scene. You see Caraxes join the battle here and just light everybody up. We're heading to the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War, where a bunch of different dragon riders fought in the air on their dragons. So you have to imagine a bunch of dragons all doing this, fighting each other at the same time on screen. So as cool as the dragons have been the last couple of episodes, it's going to get way, way crazier, especially in future seasons. But I think it'll be season 2 before we see a lot of the dragons fighting each other in the air, like later in season 2, season 3 type of stuff. Based on the way they're charting the episodes out, the last couple of trailers we've seen, it seems like they're going to spin up to the actual Dance of the Dragons towards the end of season 1, the beginning of season 2. If there's anything you spotted in the trailers that I didn't talk about in the video, just write it below in the comments. I have a couple big bonus videos planned for this week too. My full episode 3 video will post next Sunday, just like normal. And a lot of you have also asked for me to bring back Q&A videos, so I might do that in the next couple of weeks too. I'll name a giveaway winner in my next big House of the Dragon video. Everyone click here for my full House of the Dragon episode 2 video, and click here for that big House of the Dragon season 2 announcement in my top 10 WTF predictions. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.